Today, we're going to talk about building a campaign strategy that builds your path to victory. Most important thing I can tell you today is have a plan in writing. And that plan all boils down to this. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Campaigns start out calm, thoughtful, give you lots of time to get organized. But come election day, we've run out of time. Things get very fast, get very furious, because we have to accumulate and win all those votes by and on election day. And so there's lots of movement and there's lots of motion, but is there progress? The only way to keep from confusing motion with progress is to have a campaign plan that outlines if what you're doing is getting you the votes that you need. And that's why you need to have a campaign plan. But what's in a campaign plan? How do you know where to start? So we're going to start with the C's of campaigning, not the rough water C's, but the letter C. And they are capture, count, communicate, connect, convince, and complete. Now, I'll highlight what they are here, but if you go into my book, which is indicated below, it'll give you a lot more information, as well as a lot more information about campaigns in general. So the capture is capturing what's going on in the environment. The counting is detailing how many votes you need to win. The communicating is your message. Why you? And the connecting is making sure that what you talk about is on the issues that voters care about. And then it's going one step further than connecting with them on those issues, but it's convincing them that you're the person that they should choose. Campaigns are contests and their choices, and you want voters to choose you. And part of that is completing the process from the campaign perspective of identifying who those supporters are so that you know who you need to get votes from, and then you know who you need to make sure they actually came out and voted for you. Let's elaborate on those C's and talk in detail a little bit how they're going to impact your strategy in building your path to victory. So first thing we talked about was capturing what's going on around the campaign, capturing what's going on in the political environment, good, bad, or indifferent. You need to know if it's going to impact voters, so more come out to the polls or less are going to come out. Are there other races around you that are going to impact or interfere with yours? What else is going around you? Because campaigns do not exist in a silo. They are impacted by things going on around them, and you need to understand if those other things will or will not impact your race. The second one is to count how many votes you need to win. Part of your campaign plan is to identify exactly what that vote goal is and how you're going to find those votes, how you're going to convince voters to vote for you so that you reach that number, and then how you make sure they vote for you on election day. And that's also your metrics that you're going to build on a weekly basis so that you know if your campaign plan strategy is working. The more votes you keep getting, you know things are working. If you're not getting the votes you need, then you might need to rewrite that campaign strategy and declare another path in order to achieve victory. When you're writing this campaign, all these things you're writing about are happening behind the scenes that voters are not hearing or seeing, but what they do hear and see is what you communicate to them, your message. And your message, as we're going to talk about in a minute, has to highlight how you care about what voters care about. And they will vote for people that they like. So that's the next C, is connecting. So your message just can't be a message to talk about anything. It has to be about what's the key concerns of the voters, but in such a way that they understand that that's also important to you, that you're connecting with them on the issues that they care about. So I want to explain to you what is how you need to think about when you're connecting and when you're communicating and connecting with voters. So think of it this way. Voters do not care what you know until they know that you care. I want to repeat that. Voters do not care what you know until they know that you care. And that's what you have to do, is connect with them on the votes, on the issues. Demonstrate that you care about what they care about, that you're motivated to make a difference and improve whatever is that issue of concern. And so you're going to connect with them, but then you have to take it a step further, and that is to motivate them to vote for you. So you have to convince them that you're the right person for the job. It's more than just connecting, it's creating that urgency that they need you in office, that again, in that contest between two candidates, they're going to choose you and they're going to vote for you. And then once you've convinced them to vote for you, part of your campaign plan is to complete the process. Through your grassroots team, you're going to make sure that those who have identified to support you actually do come out and vote for you on election day. So another way of looking at this is how many votes you need to win, where are you going to find those votes, and how you're going to make sure that those votes actually vote for you. And that's what those C's explain to you through very specific process of that path to victory. So that come election day, you should know in advance. There are exceptions to the rule of very close races, but you should know if you should, can, and will win on election day. So let's highlight about the messaging a little bit more and talk about the fact that you have to explain why you. Campaigns are a contest between candidates, and that means they're a choice for voters. They're going to choose between two candidates, and you need to explain why you're the best person for the job, why you are motivated to run, why your story is of interest to them, and how it demonstrates that your past a record of success and achievement is indicative of the fact that you're going to be able to make a difference in the lives of voters moving forward. So you need to tell your why so that they understand your motivation, and that all comes part of the motivation of getting them out to vote. Do you talk about your opponent? Do you not talk about your opponent? Is it all about you? Well, that's all part of your campaign plan and you're part of your campaign strategy. One of the things you have to realize is that the two major parties pretty much run campaigns very similarly, just a little bit different. We all kind of follow the same game plan, and whoever does the best strategy and tactics is usually going to win. And so you need to understand that you're looking at that opponent, but that opponent's also looking at you. You're going to do a grid that analyzes out your strengths and weaknesses and your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and your opponent's going to be doing the exact same thing with them and with you. And both campaigns are going to apply their candidate's strengths to their opponent's weaknesses, but that might not mean you talk about your opponent. You're going to have to decide individually if you want to give that person any attention and whether or not their record deserves to be discussed. But either way, again, campaigns are a contest. Voters have a choice. People have run campaigns where all they do is talk negative about their opponent and never even explain why them. But what you're not doing there is motivating voters to vote for you. You might convince them not to vote for your opponent. You might convince them to stay home, but you need to convince them that you are the viable alternative. You are the one that can do the great things and improve their day-to-day lives and existence. And so you need to give voters why you should be elected, why you deserve their vote, why you should serve in public office. So part of your key messaging is why you, but again, it has to be in a way that connects and you explain to voters and they understand that you care about what they care about. So the last thing I want to talk about as it comes to messaging is about your issues you're going to talk about, the issues you're going to make a difference on, what you're going to do. You have to have a plan. As part of your path to victory and part of your messaging, you have to be able to tell voters what you're actually going to do. And so that could be a 3-point plan. That could just be 3 issues. But the key number here is 3, no more than 3 issues. Any more than that, you're getting too broad, too expansive, too many things for people to focus on. So keep 3 issues that are the key focus of the campaign based on, you heard me say this before, based on what's most important to voters. You're not trying to educate them on the process. You're not trying to educate them about anything. You're trying to tell them that you understand these issues are of concern and that you are motivated to make a difference. And based on your story, you have the skills and ability to make a difference on those issues. But stick to 3 issues. Now, I'm going to tell you a little something I've learned from 30 years worth of campaigning. 99% of the time, one of those issues, if not the first issue, is going to be about the economy. The pocketbook issues impact everybody one way or the other. And so almost every single time, it's the first issue, might be the second issue when something unique or different happens, such as a pandemic, or something else like that. But keep in mind that that's most likely going to be one of your issues. But then you have to look, like I said, at the political environment and what else is going on and what else voters are concerned about, and make those your 3 issues and talk about those 3 issues over and over and over, because voters are very busy and they might not hear your message right away. So you need to focus on 3 issues and only 3 issues as part of your messaging. So let's wrap up our 10 minutes here and talk about the fact that campaigns must have a written campaign plan, spells out in strategy and tactics your path to victory, how many votes you need, where you're going to get those votes, how you're going to get them, with what message, and what your grassroots campaign plan is to ensure that that motion is actually progress. So a lot of information, but those are the key things to keep in mind as you start to move forward and build your campaign. I wish you well, and I wish you good luck. Thanks for joining today.